Hello everybody, greetings and welcome to Scorpion Editor Ultra Beginner's Guide tutorial number 10, and we're going to call this Inanisis. So we've already got a playable game. We're going to add some finishing touches to it, and those are going to be make the game over screen a bit fancier, do an intro screen, and we're going to add a score to the game. And then we're going to have pretty much a finished playable demo. So enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to start off getting our assets ready. We've got our intro screen here, and this has got 5 layers. Each of those is going to be a frame. We can hide, unhide them and see what our animation will look like. So we hide everything except the first frame, and then export that. So I've already done this. We'll override it, and then we unhide second frame, repeat it, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and then we'll have all our frames ready. And then same thing with the game over animation, same font, same style, just different letters. And I've scribbled over the letters and colours from the Mega Drive palette that we're using, but I'd recommend keeping these as RGB images, and then the engine will sort out the transparency and so on. And finally we've got custom font. So this is the default font, and just trace around some of the letters in black and fill them in with yellow. And because we're lazy, we're just going to use the letters that we're going to use in the game. Alright, so now we've got our assets exported into all the frames here in this folder called assets, custom font. We've got a music file in there which is similar but not the same as the one that we did in the Defilemast tutorial a few tutorials ago. So we'll select all of that except for the GIMP files. We don't need those, and we'll copy and paste our previous tutorial, Collisions Part 2. And we'll rename that to number 10, Inanisis. And then we'll open our project. Okay, next thing is to create the animations. So I had trouble with collisions between the naming here, so we'll name these things with anim on the end of the name. That'll avoid that problem. So create intro and game over. I'll make that a bit bigger. So we find our frames here, intro 1, and we're going to set all these to go for 3 frames. Then we go to 2, to 3, back to 2, to 3, to 4, back to 3, to 4, to 5, back to 4, and then to 5. And we'll make it sit on our first one for a bit longer, make that go for 20 frames. And we won't, but we'll only do that for the first one. Alright, so the end result ends up looking like this. Okay, and the game over animation is going to be exactly the same, but I won't video that. I'll skip past it, but following the exact same steps, but with game overs, frames 1 to 5. Alright, so now we've got game over here. Same sort of neon sign type effect. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create actors out of these. Which is, select the right one there. Intro, we'll do the same thing, put the word actor on the end of everything. Okay, we got that. Right, now that we've done that, we'll go to our Maps tab. We've already got game over here. We'll copy that map, call it intro map. Okay, while we're here, we'll remove that startup event from it so that we don't end up running that. Edit map. So there's our new tiles. We've got intro here. Just plonk that in the screen. Save and get out. And repeat for game over. Save and get out. Okay. So back over on our Actors tab, we can hit the Show and Level button. And we can move it around so it's in the center. That looks pretty good. Same with the intro. We won't worry about changing the map because we're using the same map.
You're the saviour, Kevin. Don't punish yourself anymore.
Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is change our startup block. Instead of going to the straight into the game, which is still called new map, we'll go into the intro. Then we'll change our pause command. We'll create a code block called pause or restart. Okay, so when we hit the start button, if we're in the intro screen, we'll go into the game. Otherwise, we'll pause the game. So category conditional, left var. So we'll find the built-in variable that holds the level that we're currently in, and that's called, well, level. And we'll type this in. Then we'll go into the game. I'll put an else in there. And this is a pause. Just pause and wait for the fire button to get pressed and back in. And then we swap that out in place of the pause. Pause or restart. And so what should happen now? We're in the intro screen, we hit the start button, go into the game, and we blow up. We're in game over. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so now we'll go into our game over code block that runs when we hit the game over screen. We'll get rid of these two. It already says game over. We don't need this either. So we'll yield. So we'll wait for a few seconds. And then instead of going back into the game like we did before, we'll go into the intro. And so that's working. Okay, so we're getting to the final stages here. We're going to add some text. So go to the panels tab. We've got a new panel here. This panel covers pretty much the whole screen, and we're going to take the talkpad and just stretch it out to cover almost the whole thing. Get into that later. We'll make it the top panel. It could just as easily be the bottom panel. It can't be the main panel. If it's the main panel, it's got no transparency, but if it's top panel, it's transparent. It aligns itself to the top right of the top left of the screen. If it's the bottom panel, it's transparent. It aligns itself to the bottom left of the screen. Okay. We'll create a code block called intro. And here we're going to load and display the top panel, and be careful to choose the right command for this. So it's display, it's not set panel, it's panel top. And then we choose the top panel, and then we write the text, press start to play on it. And we're going to use the special text tags. If you click on this button here, it'll fire you off to a website. And there's some documentation. You can set the X and the Y position of the text. If you don't set anything, it'll go up to the top left. But we're going to go. So I've already pre-cooked this. X48, Y144, it's not actually case sensitive, but we'll just put that there. And then the other thing we've got to remember to do is get the intro map to run that when it loads. So the result, okay, the result is we see nothing, and I think I know why that is. Yep. In the print command, panel slot, we've got to remember to change our panel slot to top. That should work. And there we have it. While we're here, we'll go to our panel, we'll change our default font to our custom font. Okay, now while we're on that subject, what I don't think I mentioned before, custom.font.png, so the first start of it can be anything, but then it's got to end in .font.png, and then when you load this project, it'll automatically appear in your list of fonts alongside the default one. Okay, we're almost done. We'll create a similar code block, and we'll call it level start. we'll do the same thing. Set panel top. And then new map is our level. When it starts up, we'll fire off level start. We won't be able to see it doing anything. Game over. Before we pause, set the top panel to the same panel. We've just got one panel we're using for everything. Dialog, print, and this time we're going to remember to print to the top panel. And I've got the coordinates here somewhere. Okay, we'll just put a placeholder in there for now. We're gonna deal with the score next. And there we go. We've got text on the intro and the game over. Okay, final piece of the puzzle. We'll go to our startup block. All our variables are global, so we declare them all at the beginning. I'll duplicate that line and change the name to score. So now we've got a score variable. We've only used 2 variables in this whole game. Alien kill. So this runs when a bullet collides with an alien. I don't think the order really matters. Okay, category base, command type, set variable. And then, because we name them with an underscore at the beginning, they're at the top of our list. So we'll choose score, and we'll type this in. Okay, and finally, we'll print the score to the top panel, not the main panel. If we tell it the middle panel, it'll still let us do it, but we'll see nothing. And then we put curly brackets around this. That's correct. And the other thing we want to do set the score back to 0 when a new game begins, otherwise it'll just keep going up until you switch it off and back on again. Okay, and then how we've got our placeholder in the game over section. Replace that with the actual score. Last but not least, we'll reserve some audio channels for the music. And we'll start the music. And I noticed when I tested this before, the explosion sometimes didn't sound, so I'm going to change the channel to 2 for the explosion, and let's see what happens. And there we have it. That is Inanisis. Enjoy. Let's get another tutorial after this. Should be the last one. That's where we get the background scrolling. So yeah, catch you later.